Righto, today's video is just going to be on sighting in a rifle, how I like to do it. This will probably just be more aimed at your more novice people, beginners. So yeah, this is just how I do it. First thing I like to do is print off a target that has vertical and horizontal lines, and I like to tape it onto my target level so that when I'm aiming at this target I can align my crosshairs with a vertical line. That's my first tip. The other one is print out a target that has 1-inch squares on it so that when you shoot a group and you need to adjust, if your scope is MOA or inches, 1/4 inch clicks, or mils, whatever, you can go average of the group. It's easy, you don't have to measure it, you can just see which square it's in and you can make that adjustment. So, righto, so if you're going to sight your rifle in, or check it, you might have dropped it or fell on it, or you just haven't shot it for a while, or just having some practice, you really need to set yourself up for success. I've found over the years that cutting corners with this is just wasting ammo, and you just get frustrated in the end. So I built this table, I've screwed down this front rest. The other thing is quality rear bag, and I've actually got it locked in here with a little bit of plyboard, so under the big guns recoil it doesn't go flying around. So get set up, do it right the first time, and you'll save yourself a lot of headaches later on. Righto, so I've got my Winchester Model 70 here, 300 Win Mag. So we're going to get this thing dialed in at 100, and that's where I reckon everyone should start. So this gun is going to be on paper already, so I don't need to bore sight it, but if you were to have a brand new rifle or a new scope on a rifle, all you've got to do is remove your bolt and eye up a target through the center of your bore, and then check where your crosshairs are and manipulate them so that when you look through the bore and you look through at the reticles, they're aiming at the same spot. Now if you do that at 100, then I'd put a target up at 50, get it on at 50, and then work from there, then push it back out to 100. But this is going to be on paper at 100, I already know that, so I'm going to skip that step. If you're shooting off bags and you have sling swivel studs, I recommend removing them. Why? Because they tear holes in your rear bag and they're worth too much money to wreck them. Also, if the front swivel pulls through that under recoil, comes back into this bag, it can cause it to change the recoil impulse of the rifle, basically, is what it does. So I remove all my studs to shoot off benches, and I actually prefer to have the quick ones, what are they called? Yeah. I probably shoot a lot more than the average sort of hunter does, and in the last sort of couple of years I've been running muzzle brakes as well. Now if you want to protect your hearing, I recommend earplugs and earmuffs. Another thing that I've recently started doing is using shooting glasses. I recommend that as well. I do all hand loads with my guns, and sometimes I'm pushing the limits, and I'd hate to have some gas or something fly back into my eye through the gas port here or something. And when you're using muzzle brakes, sometimes if you're prone, you've got a bit of wind in your face and it kicks up a bit of dirt, and there's nothing worse than having dirt in your eye. So I recommend getting a set of good shooting glasses and double ear protection. No one likes being deaf. Anyway, so let's have the first shot. I always recommend a few dry fires, just get used to the trigger, and I've also got to wind it up to the maximum power. This one's got parallax, so we'll set the parallax larger. Do that several times, get used to the trigger. I like to breathe in naturally, a couple of times resting, and then just slowly let it out. I don't let it all the way out. It's just something you have to work on yourself. I like to squeeze with the thumb and the trigger at the same time. I find that gives you a better chance of not pulling. If you're just relying on your trigger finger, you can, but if you sort of start thinking thumb and trigger finger, squeezing the stock like this, so squeezing down here and squeezing the trigger at the same time, I find you get a better break on your trigger. Give it a go. What I like to do is I like to shoot three shots. That'll give you an average, and then you adjust from there. You start adjusting off 1 or 2 shots. 2 shots if you're a really good shot, but 3 shots is going to hopefully give you a good average of where that gun is impacting. Then you can adjust accurately off that. So it's extremely high, but I knew that was going to happen. You'll know when you've broke that trigger whether it was a good shot or not, so call your shots as you're doing them. If you feel like you've pulled one, flinched a bit, I recommend going down the target and just marking it so you can take it out of the group, because you don't want to be chasing your tail. Ammo's dear enough as it is. Make sure that you're happy with your shots. Repeatability is what you're looking for. It's just like a golf swing. So I want the same amount of pressure into this butt pad. I like to hold the forehands on big guns. Don't go pulling it down, or just everything needs to be the same. You don't want to exert too much torque onto the rifle. Right, probably a little bit over an inch grip down there. Nice triangle. Let's go and have a look. So we can clearly see we are 1, 2, 3, we're 4 inches high. So we're going to have to come down at least 2 inches. So 2 MOA or whatever your scope is dialed in for. And we're also impacting probably, if we call this the average, 3/4 to 1/2 of an inch to the left. We have got a little bit of wind today, but it's not enough to move this bullet around at that distance. Enough to move it that far anyway. So we're going to also move it. This is an MOA gun, so each click is 1/4 inch. So I'm going to move it 2 to the right, and I'm going to bring it down 2 inches. So that's going to be 8 clicks down. So let's mark these so that I'm going to use this target again. What I also like to do is write on here what adjustments I made, because sometimes you'll go, oh, that went up, and you'll go, ah, oh, went up and I should have gone down, whatever. So we're going to adjust, so off this group, adjust 2 to the right and 8 down. Let's see what we come up with the second, third shot group. In this time, the barrel's had enough time to cool down too, so don't just keep cranking them in there. Give the barrel a chance to cool down, but we'll see how we go. So this will be a little bit specific to the Leopold VX5 and 6 scopes. how to adjust, especially when you've got the CDS dial system. But let's do the windage first. This is cat windage, so it's quite simple. So big arrow pointing to the right. Now we wanted to move our impact to the right, so I'm just going to go 2 clicks. Simple as that. Now it's got a 0, so I'm going to pull that out, bring it around and 0 it. So that's changed our point of impact to the right. Now it's a little bit more involved with the CDS, but if it was just a cat top turret, you would just do the same. Pull off the cat, it'll have a up or down on the top turret, and you will just adjust off that. Whereas this one, got to undo these little grub screws. Now there's nothing on there, so what you got to do is look at your CDS dial and go, it's got a little U for up and an arrow going that way. So if I sit here and I go turn that way, which is counterclockwise, it's going to go up. So I need to go clockwise to go down, and we're going to go down 8. So I just use this and I come down 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 clicks. Now we can leave that off for now, and we'll shoot another 3-shot group. Nice. 1.5 inches high, which is about where I wanted it, and left and right, you know, I couldn't split that. Now my scope's only adjustable 1/4 inch, so I can't get any better than that. Even if it was just over a little bit, you know, you're going to be one side of the line, whereas that's just worked out perfect. So I'd call that done. Just a quick one on firearm safety. Unload your guns, bolts back. If you've got a detachable magazine, pull it out. A visual of the chamber. They can sometimes accidentally, for whatever, you know, it does happen, you might have just pushed around into the magazine unknowingly, or you may not have fired one for whatever reason. You might have been interrupted by a phone call or something silly like that, and it's just you slip of concentration. Bolt back, magazine out, visual. Now if it's dark or something, you can do an actual physical feel of the chamber. Now if you can put your finger inside the chamber, there's definitely no bullet in there. That is a safe firearm. Keep it that way and you won't have any trouble. That's a magazine box one. Winchester Model 70, it's got a drop plate, drop floor magazine. So bolt back. To drop the plate, all you do is hit this little button. That's empty. Once again, I can do a visual. This one I can't really get my finger in that way, but I can get it in that way. I know that gun, this rifle, totally safe now. I can put this firearm away in cupboard or into my gun bag in the car, and I know that it's safe. Keep the bolt back. Everyone has a visual that that firearm is safe now. If I have it like this, righto, I can put safety on, or I can decock it by holding the trigger and doing that. But how do you know now that this firearm's not loaded? I can't tell. I only can tell you that it isn't because I've checked it. keep the bolt back, simple. We've got the scope dialed in nicely. Now I've just kept 3 bullets for a little bit of practice, so it's all good and well to shoot off the bench and shoot accurately, but where it really matters for a hunter is being able to shoot field positions. So don't be frightened to get a box of ammo and get out there and have a shot kneeling, sitting and standing, leaning off a tree, something like that. Come into a manageable distance to start with. I've just sort of started about 80 yards, and that'll give you good practice of what you want to do is load your magazine. So this time I've got 3 shots, so I'll load the magazine. It'll give me a chance to cycle the bolt as if it was a real hunting situation, so I'm getting familiarity with it. I can get used to safety, I can feel the trigger, dialing the scope, and just, you know, the wind's blowing around a little bit today, so it might move me a little bit, but it'll just give you a really good practice for when that deer jumps up in front of you. Actually, this tree's blowing around so much I can't hold on target, so I'm better off to go freestand. Maybe a bit lower down. Now, this is a popular one. We're empty, safe. Wow, that is an awesome result for a field position practice shoot. I think it's about 1.5 inch group. To be honest with you, if it was 3 times that big, I would have been happy. So I'm stoked with that. Now that hasn't come about through the lack of practice. I practice regularly. Probably thousands of rounds in the last couple of years have gone through my rifles, and that has given me the confidence and the familiarity with, I'm having trouble with that word, aren't I? With my rifles. That's what you want to do. As a beginner, you want to get a hold of your rifle and you want to handle it as much as possible. If you can't get to the range, you live in the city, you're in lockdown, get in your lounge room, make sure your rifle is unloaded, and do some dry fire practice if it's a center fire. Just starting out, just getting familiar with your rifle, that's what you want to do. You want it to be second nature. You throw it up, aim, work your bolt, squeeze. Second nature is where you want to be. Sambar sometimes don't give you any more than a couple of seconds to shoot them, especially big stags. So you don't want to be fumbling with safeties or anything. You don't want to have to look at it. You want to be able to go, yep, good, shoot. Reload. You want to be familiar with how to load the magazine, how to unload your magazine, play with your scope, magnifications. Just get familiar with your rifle. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, share it around. Got a few more videos in store coming up, a few more how-tos, and maybe a few more product reviews as well. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.